All right, welcome everyone to this. I think it's going to be a very exciting, but also more importantly, informative webcast on how to pick the best marijuana stocks. You might even say very best marijuana stocks. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I want you to kind of sit back, relax, but don't get too comfortable. Make sure you put yourself in a position to learn. If you've got a scratch pad and a paper or something to take notes with, that might be, of course, very helpful for you here as well. But most importantly, just get ready to digest the information that we have for you here today. And let's get to it. Let's get to it. All right, so first things first. If you stick around to the end, I am going to be distributing a quick little checklist of the most important attributes of picking the best marijuana stocks. So you're going to want to stick around to the end to get a hold of that documentation. Okay. Now, the next thing, just remind me, because oftentimes, guys, I'll forget in the heat of the moment. We're answering a lot of questions and things towards the ends of these types of webcasts. So I'll just ask you, somebody out there, and I'm sure many of you will, just give me a quick reminder if I happen to forget. But the next subject to take hold of right away is why invest in marijuana stocks. So just to give you a feel for things, we did a joint presentation up in Canada, in Toronto, with Horizon's ETFs, which is a Canadian outfit. And they pulled together some extraordinary data from BMO markets. And so in terms of growth potential, here's some interesting things to take a peek at. So in terms of revenue and projected growth, the North American legal marijuana market is expected to reach $35 billion in sales by 2023. Okay. I'm seeing somebody say no audio. Can you guys hear me fine? Okay, perfect. My cohorts in the background will take care of that then, but I wanted to make sure we get off to the right start. But that's an astounding number when it kind of takes you back a little bit, I think. But the second point being recreational sales of marijuana in Canada, in the Canadian market place, is expected to reach, in Canadian dollars, $6.5 billion by 2020, which will exceed the sales of spirits. And we teach a lot of seminars up in Canada, and I've spent a lot of time with Canadian people. And one thing I know is, just like here in the States, we like our spirits up there too. And so that number there also kind of takes you back, doesn't it? But there's just extraordinary growth potential. And if you ask me, and who am I, but it just seems like legalization, it's already underway, and it's a reality. It's already begun, but I think you're going to see more and more legalization, of course, as we go. And as you do, here's some other interesting stats just to kind of grab hold of. We've got a few scenarios listed out here. And again, I want to thank my folks up there at Horizon ETFs in Canada. But you have listed on the left medical, recreational, and then total addressable market. And so in the current state of affairs, basically Canada is carrying the weight, and you've got about a $5.9 billion market right now. Scenario 2 would be that, the US and German markets gain total exposure to at least the medicinal marijuana, and that would provide a significant jump in addressable market to $79 billion. But also, of course, the recreational sales for both Canada and just US. Then as you continue to layer in, kind of in the blue sky scenario, if medical and recreational become legalized fully all throughout Northern America and Europe, essentially now you're looking at a $194 billion market. And so I think this is something that's hopefully not news to anyone per se. The numbers might be, but the more legalization that occurs, and what seemingly is inevitable, right? The bigger this market is going to grow and really be a huge deal, right? So that's why we're here today. Now what we need to do is figure out how to take advantage of it, right? Because I know why many of you are sitting in this webcast right now, and that's that you just can't seem to get it figured out, get on the right side of things and pick the right stocks and so on and so forth. So I'm familiar with talking to people up in Canada these days and even here in the States. And it just seems like a lot of times we're either way too early to the party, and sometimes we got to wait months, many, many painful months before the stocks really take off. If you've been trading marijuana stocks for a little while, you know that when they catch fire, man, they really move. And then they fall apart for quite a while, and then they move again, right? And so getting on the right side of that is incredibly important. So we're going to be discussing how to do that, of course. Also, when you buy too late, you know, and you get on the back side of that curve where marijuana stocks have been in favor, and hugely so, of course, prices skyrocket. And if you get on the wrong side of that, it can be extraordinarily painful as well, right, as they fall. And we're seeing a lot of the marijuana stocks, even today, in pretty significant declines, right? So we're going to coach you through how to get around these kinds of obstacles, right? Or maybe you just don't know how to pick the right stocks at all. Maybe as the marijuana stocks are exploding, you're either getting left behind with kind of okay performance, or you're not getting any performance at all. And if that's the case, gee whiz, you know, we've really got some work to do in this webcast, but we'll make sure that we get that done for you, okay? So just to kind of break the ice, let me get a feel for the room. What's the hardest part about trading marijuana stocks for each of you? I'm going to give you about a minute and let some folks type some things in. We've got a huge audience. So, you know, if I don't get to yours, it's because of the numbers, right? My chat looks like a slot machine in Las Vegas right now, okay? But I'll just give you a minute here. All right, so here's what I'm seeing. Living with the downturns. And I'm going to have trouble reading because it's still going. Trends not per se the same as the market. You're going to find some interesting things there, Gary. Lack of earnings. Yeah, some now. You're starting to see marijuana stocks, particularly the Canadian variety, starting to post actual profits for the first time, right? Afria did that not long ago. But earnings is going to be one of the keys. I'm glad you kind of brought that up, because that is going to be one of the main attributes that we want to focus on is earnings. So that's awesome. Lack of research and information. Exactly. I mean, it's still kind of an emerging market, right? So even your major analysts, your major networks like a CNBC or a BNN up in Canada or whatever, you're still not getting a tremendous amount of coverage. You're seeing things like when Canopy was bought out, you know, things of that nature, when there's some kind of big merger or acquisition, something like that occurs, but you're not seeing a tremendous amount of insight into how to do things and how to do them right, you know? So awesome. There were so many more, guys, and I just had to pick points where the thing stopped enough where I could read something. So that's awesome. You guys are raring and ready to go, which is great. So let's get to brass tacks then now, okay? Just get right into this sucker. And first things first, we need to address the problem. And in everybody's response, it can be then applied to the graph that or the image that you see now. And that is, while we might be doing some things correctly, I guarantee something was missing. And so in this webcast, there's going to be really three things that are going to be major factors here. And odds are you may only be addressing one, maybe two, but likely aren't addressing all three. And I think that's going to be the eye-opening part, okay? So what you're going to need to get this done is you're going to need a system that works, you're going to need powerful tools, and a methodology that's easy to use. And so in terms of a system that works, the first thing I want to get across to you guys, because all of you should be kind of experiencing VectorVest, which is the company I work for, maybe for the very first time. I want to provide some comfort to each and every one of you. VectorVest has been in business as a software company since 1995 in the financial services industry. We provide top-notch portfolio management guidance on a daily basis. Okay, we tell you what stocks to buy. We tell you when the market is healthy and it's okay to be buying stocks. We give you just tremendous insight into the stock market in general, and have done so for more than 25 years. Before we were a software company, we were actually a little 3-ring binder that was mailed out more on like a quarterly basis, I believe. It was called the VectorVest Stock Advisory. And that dates back another 10 years or so prior to when we became a software company. I tell you that because how many times do you see quote unquote software companies in this industry kind of come and go? We're an industry stalwart. Okay, we've been around since Moses parted the sea as far as software companies that cater to private investors. We were one of the very, very first, and we're still here today. So we know, and our customers know, that we have a system that works, and I'm trying to give you some exposure to that. Okay. In terms of powerful tools, that's going to be easy. We're going to show you that. We're going to show you plenty of that today because the powerful tools are going to tell us a few things. They're going to tell us when it's okay to be buying these stocks, when it's not okay to be buying these stocks, and which ones to buy. Okay, and that's huge, and it's easy. So that's maybe the best part for everyone. You know, is it is very much a methodology that's going to be easy to use. All right, so let's get right into things here. Here is a trading system that we're going to illustrate throughout the remainder of this webcast. And this is actual performance from August of last year all the way up until today. Well, until about a month ago is when I put this slide in, I believe. Okay. Does anything strike anybody about the curvature of the portfolio equity curve running across that screen? How does that relate to a lot of the performances you might have had or experiences that you might have had trading marijuana stocks this year? It's going higher, right? It doesn't look like the stock charts when you pull them up on, yeah, it's going nice and smooth from the bottom left to the upper right. You guys are picking out the good sweet spots here. The other thing is, it's gone higher each and every single month. I think that's a major thing to pick out, except for if you look at the last full calendar month there. We're already starting off good this month, but the last full calendar month there, we slightly dipped. It was by a few percentage points. But what's been happening to the marijuana stocks that you've largely been trading this last month? I mean, you look at Canopy, you look at Kronos, you look at Afria, you look at all these marijuana stocks that you're already familiar with, Tilray, you know, they've taken beating, right? So that's why I say this webcast is going to be eye-opening. It's going to be informative. It's going to be a lot of fun. We like to have fun here at VectorVest while we do it, okay? So let's get into it. I'm sure, you know, the natural question becomes, gee whiz, how the heck did this guy pull off doing trades on marijuana stocks and get that portfolio up 164% in really what's about a calendar year at this point, okay? Let's show you. All right, so my promise to you guys is you can separate winners from losers and achieve explosive portfolio growth trading marijuana stocks. It can be done. But you need the methodology, you need the system that's easy to use, you know, you need all those things that we've already identified. So we're going to lay out what that is. First, just a little bit about me. That's I'm the ugly one on the left, at least my left. Hopefully your left is the same as mine. But that's me on the left. My name is Steve Chappell. I am the Director of Trading Systems Development here at VectorVest. So that was my trading system that you just saw there moments ago. Okay, and that's my lovely wife, my beautiful wife Heidi there next to me. One of the more memorable golf course, I used to work on the PGA Tour, well, subcontracted through a marketing firm for the PGA Tour was my account a long time ago. And I actually traveled around with the tour for about 2.5 years and got to play a lot of great courses, you know. But that was one of the more memorable times because I played in a torrential downpour in Hawaii. That's actually Princeville. And I played with a sheriff from Texas. You know, he had the cowboy hat and the whole bit. And we just had a ball. You know, it was horrific conditions. We paid about $500 to play it, you know. We had to wait about 2 hours before we could tee off. But anyway, a little bit about me. I love to play golf, obviously, and I love to be underwater. Those are the two things, two favorite places on the planet. Absolutely are. Okay. All right. Now, enough about that. But now that you know a little bit about me, I've also been with VectorVest, as I mentioned earlier, I believe, more than 19 years now. So I've been around the block. You know, I've been trading, I've been investing, I teach options, all kinds of things, technical analysis, you name it. Been there, done that, kind of learned it all. Now, you can never know everything, you know, but I know what's good in all those different aspects. I really do, and I teach it all. Okay. What we're going to be talking, though, about today specifically is just equities, just trading stocks, and a systematic way to do that. Okay. So we're going to lay that out for you. On the journey, we're going to learn when to buy the stocks. We are going to learn that, I promise you. We are going to learn how to pick the very best stocks to buy, that being the marijuana stocks. There will be some names in here that you won't be familiar with, that I'm pretty sure as well, unless you already are a VectorVest subscriber and you snuck in here somehow. And then the 3 techniques for explosive portfolio growth. So those are going to be key, because inevitably it's those 3 techniques. You get off to a good start with buying the right stocks and buying them at the right time, but inevitably you're still going to need some techniques to make sure that you don't watch those hard-earned profits evaporate and go away. Okay, so we're not going to be talking about buy and hold or buy and hope. We're going to be talking about how to make money. And our goal, while we haven't achieved it every month, our goal is to make money every single month. Is that a good goal to have? That's our goal. You got to strive for as close to perfection as you can, realizing you can't get there, you know. But if you can do it 9 or 11 out of 12 months, you know, or 10 out of 12, or even 9 out of 12 months every year, you're going to be doing well. And that's what we strive to do. Okay, so let's get to it. The inevitable question that you have right now, you know, if I were you anyway, I'd be asking, all right, enough chatter. I'm interested, man. Where do I start? Right? So let's get to it. I'm going to draw it out first, then we're going to get in the software and look at how to do it. Okay. It's important to kind of give you the 30,000-foot view. That way you understand what we're going to be looking for before we get there. All right. So first things first, we're going to need to know when to buy. That is paramount. That's going to be the most important decision. Second decision is going to be what are we going to buy? And third is how to manage them. So we want to keep the wind at our back. Some said earlier that it doesn't feel like the marijuana stocks are following market direction as closely as, say, the traditional stock does. That's true. But as they begin and continue to emerge, that will become more and more a reality. They will trade exactly like normal stocks, and they're already starting to, just not to the degree that traditional stocks do quite yet. That's because they're still emerging, but there still is an effect there, and it's an important one to realize, and we're going to cover that. Number 2, we need to pick the best ones, okay? And 3, we want that explosive growth. So let's get to it. Let's talk about the when to buy. Here's the wrong approach. Buy and hope. Even if you're going to spread your money around and buy, you know, a half dozen or a dozen stocks, it can be extraordinarily painful, if not downright disastrous in your trading account, particularly if all your trading is marijuana stocks. Okay, so we need to avoid that situation. That's the primary situation to avoid. I do think there's value in doing that. Okay, but it is not going to be a fun ride. In fact, it can really devastate you if you're not careful. Okay, particularly if you buy at like the absolute worst times, which is when they've already run up. Okay, so we don't want to do that. That can be disastrous. What we want to do is follow a proven market timing signal. We want to follow some kind of signal that lets us know at least the stock market is performing pretty well right now. So I'm going to not have to work against the stock market. And I will tell you, one of the things investors are definitely going to shy away from is buying marijuana stocks when the market's going down. I can promise you that. Okay. Now, when you get a good piece of news and maybe some good legislation or something like that, and the stock market is taken up like a rocket, these stocks are going to explode under those conditions. Okay, so we'll see that. But what we're going to do is follow a timing methodology. So I'm going to introduce that to you here today. Now, there's going to be more than just this. This is just kind of the first layer. You're going to see that in a way we have another timing mechanism on the stock level that's going to come into play next. But this is just to make sure that we get the wind at our back from a market perspective. And so let me go into VectorVest, and we're going to start getting into the software here. All right, so this is what we call the home page of VectorVest. You can also see there's a tabbing structure up here across the top. And this is a very robust platform, okay? Else we wouldn't have been around 25 years. We're not going to hardly scratch the surface of what this thing is capable of, more so just dial right into what's going to help me in the marijuana space, okay? So first things first, I'm going to go to the timing tab, because if we're talking about timing, then we need to try to put timing on our side. We've already hopefully begun to learn that. You'll learn more here in a minute. Okay. On this tab, I'm going to go to the market timing graph. Okay. That's where we analyze the stock market. And let's just take all the clutter and all the noise off. If you're familiar with watching CNBC or, maybe some financial website, and you see the Dow's up this much today, or the NASDAQ is up this much today, or both of them are up, or whatever, what you have here is a chart of market performance, okay? And so stock markets rise and fall, and rise and fall, and hopefully rise over time. We've been in a bull market since March of 2009, so it's not surprising to see that overall we've experienced a nice stock market, right? But along the way, there are going to be times where the market enters into what's called a correction. And so we don't want to be buying marijuana stocks under those conditions, I assure you, because that's when they start to really take a beating if they weren't taking a beating already. Okay, so what we have over here on the right are a couple of different timing models. And the reason that we have several is because there's different objectives. You're going to use something different for your retirement account, for example. Okay. But what we're going to use is called pro trader timing. And quite simply, what this is going to do is use a couple of technical analysis indicators that we put together that you can trade stocks with, and in this case, marijuana stocks. It's more of a moderate timing signal. It's not on the slower side, which is more robust in the sense of keeps you on the market vast majority of the time. It's not on the faster side, where you're getting a little too cute and, in some cases trying to pinpoint entries, okay? It's kind of right in the middle. And from that perspective, it works really well on like a swing trading basis where you can be in stocks for months, not just days or not potentially years, but more so months at a time, okay? Now, when I come in, what I'm going to do is just kind of go to this most recent time frame here. What this means is there's a bunch of indicators on here. I don't want to get tied up in the soup of going through what all of them are and what they mean, because that's just clutter in terms of what we're showing here today. What I do want to show are these red and green triangles. Green means it's okay to be buying marijuana stocks, okay? Red means it's not okay to be buying marijuana stocks. And right now, it is not okay to be buying marijuana stocks. But the time will come, and maybe soon, all right? As you can see, you're going to get, about a half a dozen signals per year, if not more. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 10 signals per year to buy stocks, okay? So you're not going to be sitting here waiting another year before you can start buying marijuana stocks again. At this point, likely maybe just another few weeks, particularly after today, when the stock market has already taken it on the chin again from a nice little tweet, right? It wasn't even a tweet, I don't think, but you get the point. I mean, we're getting into oversold territory on the market here pretty quick. Okay, so we might start to see some pretty decent rally in a few weeks' time, maybe sooner. But that's the only thing I want you to take away so far is we're only going to be buying marijuana stocks when we're in a green time frame. When it's red, even if it's short-lived, that's telling you it's not okay to be buying marijuana stocks anymore till it turns green again. And you can see what that does. If you're following the chart, it keeps you only looking at buying marijuana stocks when the market is in fact rising, not falling. And that's huge, okay? Whether you believe so yet or not, you will become a bigger believer here. Well, you've already seen the 164%, right? All right, so that's what we're going to use. Now, let me go back into the PowerPoint and make sure I don't miss anything here. But that's going to be the correct approach. We only want to be buying stocks when the timing model tells us that the stock market is now officially rising, and it's okay because it's likely to continue to rise. We don't want to be buying stocks when we get a red marker because that tells us there's likelihood that the market might continue to go lower for a period of time. In this case, it didn't do so for very long before we got a signal that it's okay to buy stocks again. But you can see here, you're going to spend about a month before you start buying stocks again. See what I mean? All right, so that's that. The next subject becomes, what stocks do I buy? Okay, and this is why most of you are here, I'm sure, because the title of this thing was how to pick the very best ones. So we're going to get into that here a little bit. All right, let me go to VectorVest here again. So just like we have a timing tab to get more information about market analysis, we're going to have a spot in the program to go find some good marijuana stocks, okay? Now, here's some good news. Some of you might be a little leery about, oh man, this means I'm going to have to maneuver through a software program a lot and stuff. No, I will show at the end where all of this can be automated up to the point of sending you alerts on exactly what to do. All right, did you hear that part? I'm going to show you towards the end where all of this can be set up like a template, and it can be automated, and alerts can be sent to, say, your portable device. Okay, on what stocks I got to sell, what stocks I got to buy, so on, etc. Okay, excellent. But I got to show you under the hood a little bit, not too much, because I found that to be a problem as well. So I'm keeping things, kind of as light but necessary as possible. All right, so I'm going to go to Unisearch here. This is a search tool. It's like a scanner. You guys are probably familiar with the term scanner. We call our scanner Unisearch because it's got all these capabilities, and it's a naming convention that has been around since the 90s, okay? What we're going to do is come over here to the left, and you're going to see that we got a number of marijuana searches in here. We are going to be using the one that's titled Marijuana Magic, and so you're going to see that here in a little bit. This was run back in August the 24th of 2018. This is when we began the portfolio, okay? And so the stocks that we started out with, we start with 5, were Canopy, Neptune, Kronos, Innovative Industries. That's one that I'm sure many of you don't know and can be extremely informative on. Now you need to know. But then Organigram, and you can see the list on all the way down. We are typically going to be controlling up to 5 of these babies at any given time, okay? Now, there's going to be more to it, but let me just quickly kind of illustrate why these top 5 are emerging above, say, the next 5 or the next 5 or the next 5, okay? So this is a search that's looking at just the healthcare marijuana industry. All right, and we're eliminating, pink sheets and things of that nature. We're trying to get to kind of a more robust stock. It's not going to be huge gambles. At least it's going to be the least of the gambles that are there. if you follow what I'm saying here, they're going to be at least $1. Okay, again, that takes away, what you're going to find is when you start trading a lot of small caps, anything under $1 is pretty risky. It's under $1 for a reason. They really start to begin to hit stride when they can at least get up and stay above that dollar level. Then once you start getting above 5, you know, you become a lot healthier and so on and so forth. But that's going to be our minimum. We're also going to look for some decent volume so that if we are in a position that really starts to get hit, we can get out of it and get out of it quickly. Okay. So that all that's doing is saying there's a lot of shares being traded on these stocks every single day, and you know, and that's the main thing there. All right. So with that, then we have all this proprietary analysis that we do. And it's not what you get on like Facebook when, or not Facebook, Yahoo Finance, when you go and kind of investigate corporate data and stuff there, or really it's not like anything you've ever seen before. It's proprietary, as I've said here briefly. I kind of want to share with you the most important attributes on these stocks so far. And one of the main ones is going to be this indicator here, CI. CI, has anybody ever heard of the ulcer index? Well, we don't want to give you ulcers, okay? we're not trying to find the most volatile ones. We're trying to find comfort. We're trying to find stocks that have a tendency to go up more often than they go down. So the stocks with the higher CI ratings, like a Canopy, at this time, and this is saying at August 24th of 18, Canopy was one of the best persistent climbers of anybody in the space, okay? Now, pretty close to it was this little booger here, IIPR, and that's the one that many of you probably don't know. Some of you don't even know Canopy, right? But a lot of you probably do. But Neptune, you know, that little sucker might have snuck in there on you too, you know. Very, very persistent climbing stock there. And the other indicator that we're going to feature here is called safety. Now, safety is all about track record, really. It's all about how often do the companies that I'm looking at make money quarter after quarter after quarter, year after year after year? Well, we all know that in the marijuana space, in terms of actual returns, that's just now starting to happen for some stocks. So you're not going to see, these are 0 to 2 numbers, guys. 0 to 2. So 1.7 on comfort out of 2 is very strong. Now, in terms of safety, you can see none of them are even above 1. But they're starting, some of them are starting to get close. You know, and this is back in August of last year, okay? Some of them are starting to get close, and we're starting to see some stocks even with high relative value scores. Those are, when you get a RV above 1, that means you have upside potential into the future, and you should outperform a similar investment in a AAA bond, okay? So in other words, these stocks are really starting to get some good earnings power. They're going to have relatively strong earnings, but in many cases here, extraordinary growth rate. So when we look at, you know, say Canopy at that time, it actually didn't have one of the stronger growth rates of all the stocks here. You know who had the strongest was Kronos. And then IIPR was right behind them. And Organogram was third, okay? But you had Afria down here at 39. So you have some companies who have positive forecasted earnings and extraordinarily strong growth rates. So our EPS, earnings per share, is forecasted. It's a 12-month leading forecast of where earnings is going to be a year from this date. So it was saying that, you know, back on this date, that Afria should turn a profit of about 15 cents a share August of this year. You with me? And they turned a profit, right? IIPR is $1.54. That's a heck of a lot more money. And they're not growing as fast, but they're doing a better job overall. Now, I don't want to go too much further than that, but for those of you that have been around the block, you understand exactly where I was going there. For those that this might be your very first exposure, don't let this kind of, you know, turn you away, because what I'm saying here is very important. What this search is doing is it's finding stocks that do the best job out there of making money and growing it into the future. Some of them still have a long ways to go. And that's true for most of this market, okay? But winners begin to emerge by way of earnings and earnings growth. In other words, we want to buy, I don't know about you, but if I'm going to buy a stock, they better like make money, because if they don't, at some point in the future, they're going to go out of business, you know, or they're not going to perform as well as the ones that do at the very least, right? Like if I'm going to invest my money, I'm going to put it in a place where they're going to grow that investment into a higher amount, right? That's the goal, right? So what VectorVest does is it shows you, it kind of shines a light on that earnings. It shines a light on how persistently the stocks are rising. It shines a light on how consistent and predictable they are with that earnings performance. And it does so at breakneck speed. How long did it take me to find this list of stocks? Seconds, right? You could spend a lifetime trying to get all this information out in internet land and never even get it. So that's the value here. And for my poor guy Ray in the background there, guys, listen, we've got some hands on deck trying to answer as many questions as we can. I'm not going to be able to do so till towards the end. Okay, so he's trying to keep up as, I feel so bad for him. He's trying to keep up as good as he can, but I got to try to stay on track with the presentation, and once we get to the end, I'll answer most every question that's out there, but I want people to learn at the right speed and so on, so I got to stay on track. Okay. All right, so let me go, now that you got a little bit of exposure as to how we pick the stocks that we're going to buy, they're going to be the ones that have the smoothest, steadiest rising price patterns. They're going to be the ones that have that are doing the best job of growing their earnings quarter after quarter after quarter, year after year after year at the time that we pick them. That's going to be the main two ingredients, okay? So let's go back and take a peek and make sure I don't miss anything here. This is not the way to go. I just kind of covered that. They're not looking at the same kind of data that we look at. They're looking at things like, well, how did the company do today compared to last month and a year ago? They have no idea, per se, of extrapolating that data based upon consensus numbers from Thomson Reuters analyst estimates and kind of tying all those numbers together with where the earnings are going to be a year from now, okay? That's the VectorVest advantage, is we project out where earnings are going to be. So if you get an earnings number from VectorVest today, it's where it's going to be a year from now, not what it is today. It's going to be what it is a year from now, likely to be, okay? So here's a classic example. This is IIPR, and this was one of the stronger candidates on that list, as I hopefully well pointed out, because they're making the most money and they're growing it still at a very, very strong rate. Now what these guys do, just to give you a little exposure here, these guys aren't growing it. These guys aren't distributing it. These guys aren't doing any of the stuff that you probably traditionally look for. What they're doing is selling them the land. And the advantage they have is they don't care who wins. They know that they're going to have to grow it. And they're going to have to grow it somewhere, right? So these are going to be the guys. These are the guys selling them the land, buddy. Okay, so IIPR. Now, when you look at the earnings, the top chart speaks for itself. That's the smooth, steady price performance that we want to buy. Okay, and we would have felt comfortable buying this stock just about any day along this chart. Now, there are going to be times not to, because the timer will tell us not to. Okay, and that usually coincides with a lot of these dips. Okay, now the earnings is the engine that keeps driving that stock price higher. Now remember, this is forecasted earnings, so the last data point that we have here says, I can't see the month, but let's say March, April, May, June. In July of 2020, they're going to be making more money than they are now. Okay, and March of 2019, they weren't doing quite as well on a forecasted basis as they were January of 2019, looking forward to January 2020. So they're really going to start to accelerate next year, is what I'm telling you. Okay? But investors begin to figure this out, and this is how you pick stocks, man. It's not based upon how am I doing right now, how did I do in the past. It's based upon where am I going. And I'll be honest, these guys were a big outfit before they moved into the healthcare and marijuana space, and they did so fairly recently, but longer back than this chart that you have on your table right now on your screen. Okay, and they decided this is an opportunity we can't afford to miss, and they're the big player. Okay, cool. Enough about that. So you're already getting good information if you're paying attention here, because, you know, IIPR looks like a pretty good stock, right? All right, now simply run our Marijuana Magic DR search, and you're going to find these babies. You're going to find the IIPRs. You're going to find the Neptune Wellness that you may not have heard of before. And those are going to kind of begin to be your money makers that you may never have found, quite honestly, okay? So, real quick, we've covered a lot of ground already. I got a long ways to go, but hopefully you're finding value in this webcast. So if you are, I wouldn't mind hearing a little bit about that. Second, how is this different from what you're doing now? How is this different from what you guys are doing now? And I'm going to take a sip of coffee. I'll be right back with you. They're all sinking right now because the market's not doing them any favors. And they're still considered relatively risky, right? But the timing is what takes that off the table, okay? Yeah, so just to share with everyone out there some of the experiences, we tend to share experiences, you know what I mean? And some people are like, well, there's just all these articles out there that I've been chasing down, and, you know, at the end of the day, after I've read article number 37, I'm still not sure what 5 stocks or 10 stocks I want to buy, you know, because this article likes these 4, and this article likes these 7, and this article says this is the one stock to buy, and this article over here says, well, these 12 are, you know, and you're like, just leaves you scratching your head, right? I think that's the big one, you know. The other thing, hopefully for some of you, was, gee, I never really thought about, and you're still asking the question, so maybe you're still not thinking about it, but I've never really thought about, you know, if this is still kind of an emerging market and the market's not performing well, and there's all these concerns about the stock market, that people are probably going to be, you know, a little bit more fearful of the marijuana space in general. And so they're not going to be buying them when the market's falling. Now, I'm not saying people aren't going to be buying marijuana stocks, okay? They are. But what we need to do is figure out how to not buy them when the stock market's falling or getting ready to, right? And buy them as the stock market begins to rebound. That's going to be the key. You're asking me, when do I buy them? It may not be very long from now, honestly. But it's not right now, okay? All right, cool. So let's keep going. So the 3 techniques for consistent and explosive portfolio growth. Let's get to that here a little bit. Technique number 1 is going to be, we need proven performers. We need proven performance. And I'm going to recover some ground here, so I'm going to do so fairly lightly, because I kind of got ahead of myself. I was excited about sharing with you, you know, the key attributes that you really want to favor. What those attributes really amount to is what we're doing with that relative safety column is we're favoring the safest stocks we can find, okay? Now, as you saw, a lot of the numbers are still, you know, kind of emerging in that column. So there's no quote unquote truly great safety stock in the marijuana space yet, but there are certainly 5 or 10 that are safer than the next 10, that are safer than the next 10, that are safer than the next 10. See what I mean? And those are the ones that are starting to grow that bottom line consistently. Okay. Also, there were clearly some stocks that many of you have never even seen before that have good persistent price performance. Now, there's more than just the 1 or 2 that I've shared with you so far, and that might become even more eye-opening, right? So let's talk about safety here just one more time, make sure we hit it home. When we talk about safest stocks, we mean they're either making money or have the best finances backing them up. that can be part of the equation as well. And so I'm glad, I kind of have this note for myself, because in large part, with at least many of the stocks right now in the marijuana space, financial backing is huge. Just like Constellation Brands sinking their teeth into Canopy, right? And so on and so forth. So strong financial backing is only going to be helpful in the future as this industry continues to grow and emerge. Okay, so our safety is looking at all these factors: growing corporate earnings quarter after quarter after quarter, year after year. Do they have good financing available to them? Okay. And then in terms of persistent price performance, that speaks for itself. We just want to buy smooth sailing, high flying stocks when we make those purchases. We don't want to do what traditional and conventional wisdom sometimes tells us to do, and that is see stocks that are going down and figure we're going to get a bargain right now because it's gone down 10, 20, or even 30%. Well, guess what? It can go another 10, 20, or 30% more. Okay? And you don't want to get into the position where you're buying some as it's going down, and then you're buying more, and then you're buying more, and then before you know it, you don't have any more money to buy it again, and it's still going down. Don't want to do that. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to find stocks that are going up, at least the ones that are doing the best attempt at that when we buy them. Okay, because they're going to be far less harmful to us and actually give us explosive performance when we do it right. Okay, all right, so technique number 2 is going to be expert portfolio management, and this one's a biggie. So I think you've got a pretty firm understanding of now what we do in terms of how we pick our very best stocks. We look for very strong earnings. The stronger the better, realizing that there's still some yardage to go there. Sorry for the football analogy, but football starts tomorrow night, college football anyway, so it's on the brain. But there are some that are heading the right way. But what we're going to do primarily, like the first thing, the most important, don't just buy a single stock or two. We're going to buy baskets of stocks. Okay, we're going to buy multiple stocks at the same time when we start. Then we're going to use a proven stop loss, something that says, all right, even if it's a top VectorVest pick, we're going to trade 5 or more stocks, because no matter how good an analysis system is, sometimes the market, something happens to that stock that changes it, right? And so we need to be able to get rid of that one and get a new one in. See, that's huge. So we're going to use what's called a stop loss. If a stock goes down a certain amount, we're going to sell it. Now, sometimes that stop loss is going to knock us out, though, after we've already made a sizable gain and everything in between. But we're going to use a stop loss to try to keep that portfolio moving higher each and every month. That's going to be huge. We're also going to use Contra ETFs, and this is going to be the hardest one, I think, for me to get across to a lot of you, because many of you probably don't know from Adam what a Contra ETF is. You know what marijuana stocks are, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But we're actually going to do or employ a tactic in this portfolio that's called hedging. Ooh, and that's, yeah, okay, so hedging. What that means, that allows you a situation where even when marijuana stocks aren't performing as well as you want them to, the hedge is going to counteract, if not even supersede, that reduction in stock price. When markets go down, Contra ETFs go up. When markets go down, Contra ETFs go up. So we're going to use an instrument in our portfolio that hedges against marijuana stocks going down. And that is inevitably what has really been, until the marijuana stock market gets a lot more healthy, this is a tactic that you can't live without. I'm just going to be straight with you. Otherwise, you're just going to be driving yourself bat crud crazy. Okay, so I'm going to try to teach it to you here today as best I can, realizing this is a short webcast. But we're going to trade baskets of stocks. We're going to try to buy and maintain a dollar-weighted basket of 5 stocks. So dollar-weighted, that's the key thing we're learning on this slide. Dollar-weighted means if I buy Innovative Industries and I buy Canopy Growth, if those are like the two stocks that VectorVest is saying these are the two to start with, I'm going to put $10,000 into one and $10,000 into the other one. Now that monetary value is going to be reliant upon how much money you have at your disposal. Okay, so if you have a $20,000 account, let's say, and we're going to buy 5 stocks, you know, you can't put more than what is that, $4,000 into any position. See what I mean? Because you want to put 4,000 in the first one, 4,000 in the second one, 4,000 third one, 4,000 fourth one, 4,000 fifth one. You with me? If you have 100,000, you know, it makes it, you can put more money into each one, but you dollar weight. The reason is, if you have a good system of picking stocks, your winners will hopefully, you know, outpace your losers. But you got to give yourself a fighting chance, and you got to keep all of your eggs spread evenly, so that the one that really hits it big, you know, isn't affected by, well, I've spent 6 times as much money on the one that went down. so now the winner, you know, has to do 7 times better than the average stock. See what I mean? So 5 to 10 stock, you know, 5 to 10 stocks. We're going to be doing 5. That's kind of a minimum number, okay? But that's what we're going to do. We're also going to use a proven stop loss. We're going to use something called Profit Locker, which is a patent pending stop loss that we have here at VectorVest. It's been out for a little while. We now have a pro version, and we decided to go out and actively get the patent, because we've been getting rave reviews about it. But it says here on the screen, it's like a floating stop that leaves a lot of wiggle room when you're below a target gain, but tightens as you get closer. It will also chase a stock higher if it goes above your target. And that's huge, because if the stock just keeps going up, why sell it? You know? So if the stock just keeps going up, why sell it? So this will chase it. But the thing is, we call it Profit Locker for a reason. We want to lock profits in at some point. Our founder, Dr. Bart DeLito, was head of the chemical engineering division for BF Goodrich Tire, you know, back in the heyday, okay? He comes from the tire industry, okay? So he would say this is where the rubber meets the road. It's not a gain, it's not a profit till you take it. Now, this becomes extraordinarily important, particularly now, as these stocks are still trying to emerge. You know, once they get a little bit better track record and history with them, you're going to be able to get away with buying and holding them a little bit better in the future. But for now, it's going to be really tough sledding without something like this, okay? So here's an example. Has anybody heard of Hexo? Hexo's in our portfolio right now, by the way, okay? But Hexo, we've already bought and sold it earlier this year. In fact, bought it in January of this year. And here's the performance of Hexo after we bought it. You can see that with the candles. You can see the green arrow on the date of purchase. You can see the red arrow, which we have to draw it this way. It's really right up here, okay, is when we got out. Because price finally fell below this floating, ratcheting stop loss. And what the one thing that I want to try to impress upon you is when the stock really goes up, the stop loss really goes up with it. When the stock goes sideways to down, it doesn't give any ground, okay? And that's the locking profit part. But what's really unique about this stop loss is the room that it gives it. It accommodates volatility very, very well, like nothing you've ever seen before. I can promise you that. And so this is a revolutionary stop loss. Again, it's patent pending. You can only find it at VectorVest. It's called Profit Locker Pro. But that is inevitably what's really going to make this thing hum and sing, is our ability to sell stocks at higher prices in the future, okay? And avoid still holding them as we bought it over here, right? Now, if you held Hexo from January all the way into July, congratulations, we haven't made a penny hardly. You know, maybe 50 cents. Would you rather walk away with $7.50, which is about $2.50, or 50 cents? You tell me. And be able to buy Hexo again in the future and do it again. And this time maybe it goes up $5. Okay? and then sell it and do it again. And this time maybe it goes up $15. And then sell it and do it again, and maybe it goes up $2. And sell it and do it again, maybe it goes up 30. See what I mean? So that's what this is trying to do, and that's inevitably what's going to make things click. So this was a 64% gain on this stock, actually. 64% profit. So, you know, if you put 10 grand in, you walked away with $6,470 on that one trade. $6,470 on that one trade in 3 months. All right, cool. So technique number 3 is use Contra ETFs to hedge in down markets. So let's spend some time on that. Contra ETFs, what are they? They're like, if you're familiar with mutual fund, it's a mutual fund that trades like a stock. If you're familiar with mutual funds, you know, like Magellan, Horizons, the names are escaping me right now because I don't ever trade them. And there's lots of them. The big one I can't think of for some reason. Doesn't matter. It's like a mutual fund but trades as a stock. Here it says exchange traded funds that are designed to go up. These Contras, they're designed to go up when the market goes down. Okay, so what they do is they go out and they short the market for you, right? Of course, they're likely to go down when the market goes up. So that's why we only are going to do these. We're only going to employ the Contra ETFs when the market is falling. In other words, you remember the red triangle on the timing graph? As soon as we get the red triangle, we start buying Contra ETFs. Okay? Up to 5 of them, but we only do it as a hedge. So there might only be 2 spots open in the portfolio. If that's the case, we would buy 2 Contra ETFs. And let's say then we sell another marijuana stock a week later. Then we'd buy another Contra ETF, as long as the marker was still down. And so as the more the market sinks, the more hedging you get into the portfolio. And eventually you might become fully bearish and make money as the market is just simply falling. Okay? That's, again, this is one of the tactics that helps in terms of making money every single month. So on the left, when the stock market goes down, Contra ETFs go up. Okay? It's like a mirror image. We're going to use those as hedges. All right, so for example, on the August 1st down call of this year, the one that we're still in now, if you would have bought Contra ETFs, they're going up. So just from August 1st to August 14th, these stocks on average are up 10%. The S&P is down 3.5%. Okay? So they make money when the market's falling and provide that nice cushion and hedge. So if you own marijuana stocks and they're going down with the market, these are compensating for that. And in most cases, inevitably overcompensate because many of these carry leverage and so on and so forth. Okay? So that's how we get here, guys. And I know it can seem complicated at first, maybe to some of you, but it's an important hurdle to hopefully I've at least planted a seed, because in order to get month-over-month growth in the marijuana stock industry right now, you're going to have to learn some of these tactics. The cool thing is, again, we have a way to automate this for you that all you got to do is follow the notifications. It'll tell you everything to do. It'll tell you what stocks to buy, when to buy them. It'll tell you what Contras to buy, when you need them. It'll tell you when to sell any of those things when you need to. So all you got to do is follow the notifications, right? If you like the performance and what you see here, inevitably what you're thinking about, today is, do I want to take part in a system that will take me by the hand and tell me everything that I need to know how to do to certainly improve the results that I've had so far? I can't guarantee you're going to get 164% a year, okay? But what I can tell you is, think about what that 164% is in relation to your portfolio of marijuana stocks from August of last year to now. And then know that this system should continue to outperform ordinary performance every single month from now until you stop doing it. Okay? That is a virtual lock. I can't guarantee anything, but if anything you were able to, right? This is as close. Now, I'm not making any claims on what your returns are going to be. I'm simply going to say this is going to do better than you would without it. Of that, I'm extremely confident. Extremely confident. I know it, if you want to know the truth. Okay? So, we're going to have a trading system template in the program. It'll be provided in our software so that you can get started right away. I'm working with the development team right now. They're going to be putting it in. It should be available early next week. We're thinking Tuesday at the latest. Okay? And that goes if you're a current subscriber or if you're somebody looking to potentially become one. The template that's going to send you all those notifications is going to be in there. First, before we get maybe to that here a little bit more, we're already a little bit past the hour. I just want to know, how is this system different from how you've been trading marijuana stocks right now? How is this system different from how you've been doing it now? Just curious what the responses might be here. All right, I'll give you a minute. Yeah, I thought I might get some responses like, so it seems like this is unlike anything, right? Not a buy and hold or a swing trade. There's more to it than just a couple indicators on a chart. There's more to it than just, oh, I think this stock's pretty good, or this newsletter told me this stock's pretty good, and I'm just going to buy it and hold it for a couple years and see what happens. No, yeah, this is much different than that. Exactly. We will know when to buy. I missed a lot of opportunities. Exactly. You're going to know exactly when to buy. There's more things to the trading system than I've covered so far. Like, you're never going to buy a stock that you bought within the last 31 days. That's one of the things that prevents you from continually buying marijuana stocks when the market is falling. So even in an up situation, you may not have a full basket of 5 marijuana stocks. You might only have 1 or 2 because those are really the only 2 that are doing anything. Okay? So you're not always long 5, you're not always short 5, and so on and so forth. You might sometimes have just 1 or 2 or 3 stocks, and sometimes you might have a mix. Like right now, if I show you the trading system right now, let me go to portfolios. Here's the trading system right now, okay? So we're up for the month still so far. When I look at what's in there, we have a Contra on Brazil and we have a Contra on the NASDAQ. Those are making money. We also have a position in Hexo that was up a lot more at one point. This one's come down a little bit. But we still have a little bit of a profit here of 3%. Okay. Now, if I right click and view Profit Locker Pro Graph, we have a line in the sand on Hexo. This one never went up enough we're trying to hang on to this booger and see it looks like it might be starting to maybe reverse here, which is great. See, that's what's smart about Profit Locker. This one's looking like, yeah, we're at least getting potentially a higher close than the yesterday's close, which would be good. That's how you start a new trend before you can signal trend, right? You at least got to start with that. But anyway, our line in the sand is right down here at 378. Okay. So right now the stock is, that's about 8 cents below our purchase price. That's 8 cents below our purchase price. How much money would you lose if we end up cutting that out of the portfolio? Virtually nothing. So if it kicks into gear, we're going to be doing even far better than that. If we look at BZQ, now remember, this goes up when the market goes down. It's looking at Brazil, but you can see how this one is adjusting already. And if it continues to climb like this, eventually you're going to see some larger adjustments. As the closer we get to our target, the faster this line down here is going to start moving. Okay, but you can already see it's starting to lock profits in on this trade already. Pretty cool, isn't that neat? And then when any of those actions are necessary to do, you will get in this window a notification. That notification, if you set it in the application settings, the notification on what to do, like if I need to buy something or if I need to sell something, not only will it pop up in the software, but you can have it forwarded to an email address or a telephone number. We've got all the major carriers anyway, Verizon, AT&T, you know. All you got to do is put your phone number in, and we know the email address, and we just send it right to you. Okay? Also, this may be interesting to some, we are plugged into Ally Invest, TradeStation, and Interactive Brokers. We have direct API linkage to those platforms. So if you're somebody who would be interested in VectorVest and trading directly through one of those three brokers, you can do that. And you don't have to leave our software. It'll just actually place the trades for you. You would require an additional tool to do that, but for those that are interested in that, they're interested in that tool anyway. So, you know, that's just part of the deal. But I got to try to cover all my bases because all you guys are new. At least you should be. And all of this is just to say, VectorVest can help make things as easy as you want it to be without actually just trading it for you. And we can't do that, you know. That wouldn't be legal. So you inevitably have to initiate the trades, but we can take you all the way up to that step. Okay. All right, let me go back into VectorVest here really quick. So I figure this, guys, we got around the corner and come home. I figure this. I figure you showed up today because you want the tools, you want the training, you want the techniques necessary to pick the best marijuana stocks. I believe that we showed you, at least from a 30,000-foot view, at least giving you a solid feel for the fact that this program can help get that done for you. Okay, you can see that by the live result that continues to be populated in that trading system. That was live. Those three stocks that were in, that's live, man. Okay, that's what's happening right now. So we can do it. I mean, we can cross that bridge together if you'll let us. So today, I figure you learned it's okay when it's okay to buy marijuana stocks, how to pick the best ones, and the three techniques for portfolio growth. The big lesson, you can achieve explosive portfolio growth trading marijuana stocks. It can be done, and it can be almost completely automated. You're still going to have to click a button, but it can almost be completely automated. Okay? There's no such thing as I can't. I learned this a long time ago. Steve-O would not have achieved many things that Steve has achieved if he thought he couldn't do something. I learn every year that I can do a lot more than what I ever even dreamed of, as long as I put my mind to it. So if this is something that you want to be able to do, we can help you get it done. Okay? We designed this trading system for people that want a stress-free solution. They don't want to sit there looking at the internet all the time. They don't want to sit there reading through financial documentation. They don't want to tune into earnings calls and see what the forward guidance is going to be. They don't want to listen to Kramer on TV telling them what to do. They want to take things into their own hands and do it right. That way, you can get much better performance. Can't guarantee the 164%, not going to do it. Can guarantee it will be better than what we're doing now. So, in the package that you're going to get, you know, obviously you came here for a reason. You got some good education. You saw some wonderful stocks to buy. Now what you need to think about is, do I want to do the system? Okay, you're going to get market direction. You're going to get the best stocks to buy. You're going to get expert portfolio management. You're going to get the trading system to follow. And you can do that on desktop, mobile, device. All you got to do right now is go to www.vectorvest.com/MJ. So I'm going to go ahead and put that, or have Ray put that into the chat. If you click that link that he just, thank you, Ray, that he just put into the chat now, it'll take you to this page here. So yeah, if you click that link that's in the chat now, it's probably worth at least doing that so that you can take your time here, obviously. You can look at all the nice benefits that you're going to receive for just $9.95. Guys, you can try this out for 1 full month for 10 bucks. Is it worth at least investigating? Is it worth at least investigating for $10? Okay, that's the question I leave you with now. You're also, let me go ahead and put that into the chat. It's a pretty simple document. It's just a friendly reminder of the key attributes of the marijuana stocks. So I'm going to put that into the handout section now. Just a reminder on what we need to find on the price, what we need to find on earnings, and that market direction is a key, whether you still believe so or not, or don't, it is a key. It absolutely is. That's why marijuana stocks are getting pounded right now, because the market's really unfavorable, okay? So it absolutely is key. And so I just leave you with this. The special offer, it's $10 for 30 days. $9.95. A good Cuban cigar, it's going to run you about $29, right? So you can get a nice Arturo Fuente for $9.95. And that just goes up in smoke, man. So $9.95, that's the deal. 30 days, incredible offer. I don't even know what that breaks down to that you're spending per day to check this out, but it's going to be just something stupid like 50 cents or less. So 30-day money back guarantee as well, which is, All right, so special offer, $9.95, get it done. Who's in? Who's going to try this out? I'm curious. Who's going to check it out? Anybody going to check it out? Who's in? Excellent. All right, cool. Awesome. Perfect. Excellent. There we go. Perfect. I mean, listen, I'll give you the rub. So if you try to cancel, somebody's going to say, what are you doing? They are. For $10, that's your full exposure, though. If you don't like what you see, you just keep telling that person, no, 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 no. They're going to keep saying yes, yes for a little while, but try to tell you why you're making a big mistake, and you are. But $10, you can't beat. You're not going to find a better deal anywhere, man. What do you get with the special bonus? Special bonus. I don't see a special bonus. Let's see, I'm already in the 30-day, need to figure out where I'm going. Okay, yeah, so it just kind of depends on what you're trying to accomplish, right? So in VectorVest, you've already learned we can help you with your retirement portfolio and getting good stocks and collecting dividends and selling covered calls to generate income, and all that kind of deal, right? You've probably also seen that we have option-specific strategies. You've seen that VectorVest is kind of the jack of all trades and really good at all of them, which is rare. Usually if you're jack of all trades, you're kind of just okay at everything, right? We're very good at everything we do. We've been around a long time, so it's given us time to do that. But, you just got to kind of, one of the things that I do, I can just tell you this, I have 3 portfolios that are going all the time. One is very much just retirement-minded stocks. Then I've got a certain portion that I have to trade best way I can through 401k. And what I do with that is I self-direct almost half of that. And then I just kind of bounce between mutuals and, and fixed income when the time is right. And then I've got an option portfolio. So you could have a marijuana portfolio, you can, and you just got to kind of figure how you want to break it up, right? All right, cool. Let me see. I would say this, you want to do the vast majority of your capital if you can stand to do it. Like some of you I know are pushing 100,000, million, 5 million, $10 million accounts, whatever the case may be. We have an awful lot of subscribers here that do, okay? And in those cases, you want to take a very substantial amount of money and put that in the retirement techniques. This would be for a smaller piece of the pie for now. All right, let's see. What will the price be after the 1-month trial? So you're going to have, this actual trial is to VectorVest real time, which is a stellar deal because that's normally $29 anyway to try it out. It's real-time streaming data. That goes to $12.95 a year, okay, after the 30 days. But we also have intraday. That's $8.95 a year, I believe. And then we also have end of day. Which is $6.95 a year. So $695 for 12 months of continual notifications on exactly what to do. Okay, very, very affordable. We might be getting some seminar pricing here. Oh, this goes monthly, guys. I was giving you annual. Now, annual is something that you'll have a decision that you can make. the monthly rates are you know, $69 a month for end of day. I believe it's $79 a month for intraday, and $129 a month for real time. Okay, so you can see the annuals. If you decide, you know, you like what you see, you can always move up to an annual, and you really get about 2 months savings per subscription type on the annual subscription on average. So that's usually a move that most people do. And our annuals are not like you pay it and that's it, it's done. Like if you only stick with us for 6 months, you get time refunded. You know, in odd cases, things happen. You know, we have weird stuff happen all the time. Life gets in the way. People move to Europe or in the service or whatever. You know, you're not tied down to that full amount. If something weird happens, you can get a portion refunded. Okay, if you're for whatever reason. All right, so cool. But the monthly, you know, the monthly rate's not a bad way to start. All that should be on the website too, by the way. So if you click that link that's in the chat, it should detail some of that. I guess it's not in this case. So that's a good question to ask then, I guess. Oh boy. All right, let's see. What else we got here, guys? I entered late. Is there going to be a replay? You bet. Yeah, this has been recorded, guys, and is going to go out as a recording. So I'm going to stop recording now because I might stick around and answer a few more questions. But it's just been a delight for me to be here. I am going to stick around for a little bit, but just kind of end the recording at this point.